a strategic partnership at Healthier Generations, where he has served since 2008. Originally, he's from the bluegrass state of Kentucky. He's now living in Washington, D.C. He's certified in mental health first aid and wilderness first aid, and is currently completing a certification as a nature and forest therapy guide. Daniel has a bachelor's degree in international relations and a master's of public health, both from Western Kentucky University. Go Big Red. Without further ado, this is Mr. Daniel Hatcher.
Thank you, Mr. Edwards. I appreciate starting my day with you. Hi, everybody. I'm so happy to be here with you all. I'm calling in today from Phoenix, Arizona. I'm actually at the National Recreation and Park Association conference. So after this presentation, if you're interested in talking about Park and Rec, I'll give you my email. Always feel free to reach out. Here to connect and support y'all in any way I can. I'm really excited for this session. I wanted to make this as interactive and hands-on and fun as possible. So we're just going to experience and do some simple resources from Healthier Generations, amazing resource collection this morning. So feel free to be on video. You don't have to. You might grab a sheet of paper and a pencil or a marker or some scrap paper, because we're going to do some activities together. So I am beyond thrilled because my awesome teammate Seth is here with me this morning. And Seth, I'm just going to turn it over to you and please introduce yourself. Tell everyone how great you are, because you're just such an awesome guy.
Well, thank you so much. That's high praise. My name is Seth Shelby. I am in South Carolina. I'm actually a Healthy Schools and Communities Program Manager with Healthier Generation. And I am fortunate enough to be able to work throughout the state on the, thanks to the wonderful support of Blue Cross Blue Shield Foundation of South Carolina, as part of the diabetes-free South Carolina work. And part of that work is really just working hands-on with districts and schools to get them engaged in building a culture of wellness. And we do that by really getting into the schools and getting into the district meetings and starting to engage them about how can we include families and community members? How can we connect the dots? How can we get people at the table who weren't previously at the table and get them talking and out of their silos, because we're so much stronger together. So that's really what I get to do on a daily basis, and it makes me so happy. So of course, when Daniel invited me to be a part of this, I jumped at the opportunity, because anytime I get to work with anyone who's involved with family and community engagement, whether it be the wonderful people at the Family Engagement Center at South Carolina, or anyone involved in the many coalitions and community work that goes on in this state, I jump at the opportunity because it's so powerful. So thanks, Daniel, and I'll pass it back over to you.
Awesome. Thank you, Seth. And I don't know if anyone attending this presentation or watching the recording was in Clemson earlier this year at the U.S. Play Coalition conference, but Seth and I had a chance to present together there. So if you're not familiar with the U.S. Play Coalition, definitely a great resource there in South Carolina to check out. So I'm going to put the objectives in the chat box here and just review those really quick. All right, so today, in the next 40 minutes, we're going to learn and, like I said, experience some simple and impactful family engagement strategies that support physical and social emotional health. We're going to emphasize some inexpensive art and nature-based activities aligned to the whole child model. Those are two of my favorite topics. I love the restorative nature and the trauma-informed nature of nature and art. So we're going to lean into that a little bit. And then really, I want y'all to give yourself permission to take a little bit of a break and just play and learn and be creative. And, this is your space. So as we go through these resources, take what serves you and leave what doesn't. And everything is an invitation. So play along as you like. But I hope at the very least, you give yourself just a moment to reflect on all the great things you're doing and leave with some impactful resources that you can use. And I'll put my email in here. Like I said, reach out anytime, daniel.hatcher@healthiergeneration.org. Please reach out. I'll send you a list of these links. I'll give you my entire agenda if you're like, hey, I can do what you just did. you're more than welcome to take this agenda and share this out with other folks on your teams as well. So quick question for you can come off mute or you can write in the chat. Any questions so far? Any questions? And if you're good, you can write a yes in the chat. Thank you, Mr. Williams.
I don't see
All
any.
right. All right. Well, we're going to dive on in. So my first activity is really based around celebrating you all. Healthier Generations work is aligned with the whole school, whole community, whole child model. So I'm going to, if you're not familiar with that model, I imagine most of you are, but I'm going to put a link into the chat. And what I'd like for you to do is to go to that link and look at the whole child model. And I'll set a timer for 2 minutes, but I would love for you to look at that whole child model and come back prepared to share something that you've done that's related to holistic children's health. So click the link, check out the model, and just come back to and be prepared to share something you're doing. And don't be shy. I want this to be a little bit of a celebration of something you're proud of that you've been doing, or it could be, you know, if you choose employee wellness, it could be something that you do to support your own health as well. But wanted to start today by just celebrating. So I'll set the timer for 2 minutes. Visit the link and come back prepared to share. And I'll do this along with y'all too. And no rules for this activity either. Go as broad or be as specific as you like. It could be a family event you've hosted. It could be a community gathering that you've been part of. Maybe something you've done around staff and employee wellness. You could be celebrating how you stay physically active yourself as a staff member. We got about 40 seconds left. So again, just visit that link for the whole school, whole community, whole child model. Pick a category and come back and be prepared to share something you're proud of. So about 9 seconds. All right. You're going to notice that for these, this will be kind of the format. We'll talk about a resource. I'll give a link and then we'll chat or do something with that resource and then come back and reflect on it together. So we'd love to know, how are you already supporting the whole child model? What are you proud of? Mr. Edwards, I see here you're a SCASD board member. You sponsor a whole child conference in the fall. You celebrate schools and programs that focus on the whole child model.
Right. Yes, sir. Mm-hmm.
Excellent. Anything you want to add to that? That sounds like a great event.
Right. Yeah. This year, the event is October the 7th at Furman, but what we do, we select schools across South Carolina that are focusing on, you know, student emotional health, or even having programs for employee wellness, and celebrate those schools. And then we have speakers talking about those issues with the whole child, around the whole child model.
That's excellent. I appreciate that you took the broad, like the macro approach. I'll share my example. I went more micro. I was thinking about nutrition services. and kind of put it through my own lens as like a staff member. It's like I've been trying to work on hydration and like always keeping my water bottle with me. So that was mine. So I appreciate that. Like we're kind of on both ends of that spectrum there. Does anybody else want to share? Seth, maybe. What can we celebrate, Seth?
Well, of course, when I'm looking, I look at that model and I reference this model all the time, but it's hard not to go back to continuing to support physical education and physical activity, especially as it pertains to our schools, whether that be empowering our physical educators to use very important physical activity data from the FitnessGram to share with their community members and their family members, and even their community health improvement plans to make sure we're elevating the entire community with that data, or even just helping people feel supported, in that model. So, PE teachers can't pour from an empty cup, just like students can't learn with an empty belly, right? So it's all about nourishing our minds and bodies, and I love that model so much.
Thank you, Seth. Micah, thank you for writing in the chat here. We treat and educate youth and families with all issues that are going on with them, not just their abuse, and our specialty. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, that is the whole child motto, is thinking about all of those pieces that impact a child's health. Thank you, Mr. Williams. Supporting a social and emotional climate through classroom school counseling sessions. We are intentional with sessions and created a needs assessment to know which lessons to offer. It's so hard getting into classrooms in a public school, so this is definitely a win. Wow, that's amazing. I love that. I think you starting with a needs assessment certainly resonates with how Healthier Generation does its work with partners, which is quality continuous improvement, and starting out with really understanding what's really happening in the space. Miss Williams, thank you. Sorry about that. Thank you for sharing. Anybody else? Any other celebrations folks want to share, things you're doing around Whole Child? All right, well, we're going to move on to our next activity. I've got about 6 activities here. So the next one is from our Kohl's Healthy at Home resource collection. This is a really incredible resource database that Healthier Generation created that's broken down family engagement resources into eating healthy, moving more, and feeling healthy. So I'm pulling out one of the resources from the Feeling Healthy section of resources, and it's a really cute, fun PDF. You could adapt this in a lot of ways. It's an emoji, it's an emoji feelings chart. So I'm going to put the link in the chat here. So click the link and you'll go to the Kohl's Healthy at Home feelings chart. I love the description on this resource. Emotions are a big part of our health and well-being. Each person will experience emotions differently, and the way we feel can change day to day. To successfully manage our emotions, we must first identify how we feel and acknowledge that no feeling is good or bad. All feelings are useful information to help us navigate our world with success. So now that you have the emoji chart, we're gonna do a little twist here. So I hope you have a scrap sheet of paper, something to write with. What I'd like for you to do is take 2 minutes. I'm going to set my timer again, 2 minutes, and I want you to draw an emoji that represents how you're feeling today. So you can use that emoji chart that I put in the chat as an example. You could pick one of those, you could just model after one of those, or you could make up something completely different. But I want you to draw an emoji that represents how you're feeling today. So starting the timer, 2 minutes. I'm going to do this too. Draw emoji that represents how you're feeling. And I'll be the first to admit my emoji is going to be a stick figure style emoji. So don't feel like you need to have any special skill here. And if you're watching this recording in the days and weeks ahead, we'd love for you to pause and do this activity too. And I'll put in the Healthier Generation social media handle. It's just Healthier Gen on Twitter. If you do this activity, we'd love for you to take a photo and tweet it out to us. So draw an emoji of how you're feeling today. Got about 30 seconds. I always find when I'm doing this activity, it's nice to just give myself a reminder to take a nice deep breath too. I think about like, when was the last time I just sat down and did a little doodle? All right. So I'm wondering if anyone would like to share their emoji drawing. And you can share on your video. You could describe it in the chat. If you want to come off mute and describe it, you're more than welcome to do that as well. And I'll go first, just so y'all know there's no like fancy art skills required here. Mine is and I'll describe it in case my video is not very clear. It might be there we go. I think mine might be working. It's just a stick smiley. I'm feeling pretty happy today because I always love starting my day with groups like this. I did put a few little Z's next to it because it's pretty early here. So I'm still feeling a little sleepy. I put a question mark beside the Z's because I'm not sure if I'm sleepy or if it's just early, but I'm feeling good. So that's my emoji for today. And Micah, I love the little emoji graphic you used, the guy with the little spinny eyes. That was me yesterday. Hectic. I feel you on that, Micah.
Daniel,
how are you feeling today, Seth?
I was about to say, I put accomplished. I don't know if y'all can see that. It's not the greatest drawing in the world, but yeah, I just feel really accomplished. Got a lot done this week, and I always feel that Friday Eve kind of feeling on Thursdays where I'm like, hey, I've done a lot. There's, got that soon to be weekend energy coming in. So
love it, Seth. And that was a pretty, I'm impressed with that drawing. That's nice. Anybody else want to share? How are you feeling today? And if you want to share your drawing, that's fine too. You could just write in the chat how you're feeling. You could pick out one of those emojis from the feelings chart. No pressure. I like it. How you feeling? That looks like a happy emoji. Mr. Edwards.
Excited.
I like it. That yellow sheet of paper really makes it pop too. Oh, Jamie, I'm sorry to hear you're getting over a bad cold. Well, feel better, Jamie. Sending good thoughts your way. All right, let's see. All right, MalQueen.Rivers, feeling thoughtful. Thank you for sharing. I know I feel thoughtful. I caught a portion of the keynote and wow, I wish I would have dialed in at the very beginning. It was such a powerful presentation. Mallory is feeling sad, but also optimistic. House hunting is stressful. Feel you there, Mallory. And I appreciate that you shared both of those feelings. And that's why a teammate and we adapted this feelings chart to be a drawing so that it could be a little bit more inclusive of lots of feelings. So Mallory, I appreciate that you shared that the complexity of how you're feeling there. So I'll throw out this reflection question, like, how do you think, this is pretty simple, how do you think this activity might support family engagement? And when I say family, my definition is the broadest definition, like chosen family, friends who serve as your family, older and youth who serve as caregivers, grandparents. How might this be useful when engaging with families? Thanks, Mallory. A lot of families in the area we serve don't have time to stop and check in on how they feel. Absolutely. And even more, they don't have time to share how they're feeling. And maybe to take that a step further, they might not be asked how they're feeling. There's so many demands that are placed on all of us. Just having this space to check in with each other and ourselves makes it a lot easier for us to be supports for each other. Allow the individuals to express and communicate their feelings. Yeah. Thanks, Seth. This can be a simple way to start conversations around emotional intelligence and being self-aware. Absolutely. First step, identifying how you're feeling. 2, finding those strategies to help respond in a healthy way. Micah, thank you for sharing this. How you're feeling leads to how you tend to react or respond. Absolutely. I know that if I'm not checking in with how I'm feeling, I'm much more likely to quickly respond and just like send off an email or send off a text that I haven't really thought about what the implications could be. And I certainly didn't think about like how that other person might be feeling in that moment as well. So if we're doing this together, we're creating a culture that supportive social emotional climate. Well, thank you for playing along with emoji check-in. Again, you have the chart you can use, but if you want to do this twist on the activity, I love asking folks to do the drawing. I think it's a lot of fun. So our next activity comes from a healthier generation resource called 20 Family Bonding Activities. So I put the link in the chat, 20 Family Bonding Activities. We're gonna virtually tear one of those activities off of that worksheet. And the one we're going to do is around physical activity. Seth, you mentioned that earlier, so I'm glad you gave a nod to doing some physical activity. So I'm going to share another resource in the chat here. This is from one of our partners, the National Center on Health, Physical Activity and Disability. One of my all-time favorite resources. It's called Deskercise. Yes, I will write that in the chat. Deskercise. And you're probably already figuring out what this is about. It's simple physical activities that can be done seated. This was written for supporting staff members, but I love how transferable this resource is. So if you think about the families we're serving, have all levels of ability, all ages, providing a resource like this is a really nice way to ensure that physical activity is inclusive. So same format, I'm going to set a timer for 2 minutes, and I would love for you to click that Deskercise link, and that will take you to Deskercise. But then if you scroll down, actually, I'll give you the specific link. This will take you to the actual Deskercise poster. And what I would love for you to do is to pick one of these movements that would help you out this morning. What do you need? Do you need to do something that gets your heart rate up? Do you need to do something that adds some flexibility and gives you a nice stretch? Pick one of these activities, and I want you to try it out on your own. I'm on video, so you all will get to see. I'm going to do some of the flexibility. I love these forearm and shoulder stretches. So I'm going to be doing that one. Choose whatever you like. You don't have to play along if you're like, I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling great today. no worries. I hope that you can use this a resource in the future. So I'm setting the timer for 2 minutes. Pick something from desk exercise. Do an activity, stretch. Seth, you're the best role model. I saw you stretch before I even got my screen back in order here. All right, I'm doing this forearm stretch. Oh, I love this one. When you've been typing. So these are just inclusive ways to get moving while you work. Mallory's about to go do some wall push-ups. All right, you're getting your heart moving. I do like a wall push-up. It's much more approachable than standard push-ups.
We actually brought this up yesterday, Daniel, in a district meeting where we were discussing these folks who just left the school building, and then they went right to a district meeting and everybody just started sitting down all over again. And you could just sense they're like lethargic, kind of settling in. And we just, as soon as we started moving, we did some of these, we did some punches and some stretches and stuff. And everybody, we did some deep breathing, and everybody just, you could see it in their eyes and their expressions, how it's just physical activity is so great for your concentration, for improving your mood. And it only takes, 1 to 2 minutes of just re-kicking that system in,
Right?
It's awesome.
So well said, Seth. And, I like to think that the more we do these types of things together, we can change culture so that, yes, it is normal. It is perfectly all right. And it is awesome to dial into a conference and do a stretch while you're seated, right? And hopefully that will instill in folks that even if someone's not prompting you to do a stretch or get up and move, that whenever you're on a video call or when you're in a meeting, that, it's okay to stand up in the back, or, to honor that your body needs to move, and that your mind will be way more active if your body is as well. All right, so you got 2 resources from that. So the 20 family bonding activities, there's a lot of links in that resource as well that you can share with families. Perfect to put in a newsletter. And then you all are experts in desk exercise now. So I hope you enjoyed getting to move and stretch a little bit. And Seth, thank you so much for just reiterating how important adding a little bit of physical activity is to your day. All right, we're going to keep moving. This is the next one's my all-time favorite. It's called Nature Bingo. This resource is part of our Cole's Healthy at Home Family Engagement Collection. We have a Bingo 1.0, and we just developed a Bingo 2.0 in collaboration with an organization called Blue Star Families, which works to support the military community. Our vision behind the Bingo resource I'm about to share is that we're connecting everyone in a community. And if there are folks who are serving, that they're having the opportunity to connect with anyone in the community. So how can we use nature as a connector? So I'm going to put a link to Nature Bingo in the chat. And Blue Star Families designed this, so they get the credit because they did a really cool thing. They did the first bingo card, and then they jumbled it up so that if you wanted to use this as a bingo card and work on something for a month or even a week, if you were doing camp activities, you could work your way through these different bingo cards. So what I'd like for you to do is look at that bingo card. Again, I put the link in the chat. Would love for you to take a look at nature-based bingo and pick out something that you already do. Maybe there's an activity on that bingo card that you already really enjoy. And then we're going to come back and share that in the chat and then do an activity together. So visit Being Nature-Based Bingo, pick something you already enjoy, share that in the chat, and then we're going to do one together. I'm going to pick one here too. I'll set a timer. We'll do a 1-minute timer on this. So which of these nature bingo activities are you already doing? And if you're not familiar with Blue Star Families, I definitely encourage you to check out their website. They have a really great volunteer program. I've volunteered at some of their events in the DC, Virginia, Maryland area. Really awesome way to welcome military families. There's actually a Blue Star Family Welcome Week is coming up at the end of September, and they're hosting a lot of events. So if that's something, if you're looking to engage more community members or find a new partner for family engagement, your local Blue Star Families might be hosting an event that you could tap into. Oh, thank you, Seth. You're on it. You already put that in the chat. All right, so 1 minute is up. I'm gonna say something I really enjoy here is that square on enjoy an outdoor activity like walking for the whole family. I love walking. I'm trying to do more of it. That's one of my favorites. Seth, which of these bingo squares do you enjoy?
I think you and I are in the same wavelength, but yeah, the enjoy an outdoor activity was the one I went to first. And that's because every day when I'm off at 5, the first thing I do is I grab my son and we have a nearby park and we go do something outside. I feel like it's just incredibly transformative to, you go from working on a computer or doing something all day to being outside. It's just a total reset for the brain in the best of ways.
Yeah. Thanks, Seth. 100% agree. Anybody else, like any of those activities you like, something you've done this summer? Maybe you saw something that you're like, oh, I'm going to try that. You can share that in chat as well. Which nature bingo activities have you tried? And if you looked at that list and you're like, I haven't really done any of those, then I hope that you give them a try. Thanks, Micah. Try a new food and learn about its cultural significance. That's a great one. And let me see if I can find the link here really quick. That is certainly something Healthier Generation creates a lot of resources for. So I'm going to put a link in here to our blog because we frequently feature guest recipes from folks around the country. So if you're looking for ideas on a new food and its cultural significance, our blog has quite a bit of ideas. Mallory, that's my favorite thing when folks say I'm changing up the resource. I'm adjusting one square. You like collecting rocks instead of leaves. Love that. Thank you for making Nature Bingo better by making it your own. All right, for time, we're going to keep moving, but I hope you enjoy exploring Nature Bingo. Check out Blue Star Families, check out the Healthier Generation blog. Lots of resources there, but the power of nature to support us when things are challenging, I just can't underscore that enough. I feel like during the pandemic, if I didn't have space to be outside, it would have been even harder for me. I think it's also important to acknowledge that not everyone has equal access to green space. So hopefully as you enjoy Nature Bingo activities, you can think about how you can help other folks get access to safe green space, or at least be aware of safe green spaces that you know about. Thanks, Seth, I appreciate you putting in that specific link. All right, so we're going to move on. This resource I actually found this last week and I hadn't really explored it. So I wanted to share it with you all. It's called Silly and Speedy Conversation Starters. And when you click that link, it might take you to our online action center that requires a login. And if so, that's okay. Would love for all of you to create an account in the Healthier Generation Action Center. We have lots of free resources and all you need is that account. But we're going to do one of these together. So this is also from Cole's Healthy at Home. These are just fun conversation starters to help connect folks. I love this, just thinking about family engagement events where, have you ever been to like a work lunch or an event where you're eating a meal together and you sit at a table with folks you don't know? And I don't know about you, but my first instinct sometimes is like, let me grab my phone and like look at my work email to avoid the awkwardness of sitting at a table with people I don't know. And I'm trying to get away from that. And I love this resource because having a conversation starter at a table when you're bringing people together who don't know each other is a great way to facilitate that conversation. And takes the pressure off of folks feeling like, hi, Seth, I'm Daniel. Why are you here? Like, and some of us are better than that than others. Shout out to the other introvert, extrovert people in the room. So we're going to do one of these together. So again, this resource just has a list of all of these conversation starters. So I'm pulling from a section in this resource called If You Could. So I'm going to ask a question, and I'd love for you to write in the chat your answer. And again, this resource is like, it looks like a coupon. It's just like, if you could, and then all of these little questions. So lots of ways to adapt this. So here's the first one. If you could have one superpower, what would it be? If you could have one superpower, what would it be? I'm gonna put that I could teleport. Yeah, kind of like you said, flights. Yeah, Mallory, yeah, stay on gas money. Invisibility. Thanks, Miss Williams. Blink and make my to-do list go away. Allie, all right, I'm changing mine to that. All right, new question. Let's see here. If you could be any animal for one day, what would you be? If you could be an animal for any day, what would you be? Your dog, like that. My spoiled dog. Let's see, what would I be? A giraffe. Yeah, that'll give you some new perspective. It might be a monkey. A cat, my cat. Thank you. All right, new question. Let's see here. Oh, if you could travel anywhere in the world, where would you go? And as you can see, I'm just picking these questions randomly from this resource. So if this serves you, if you want to use this in a staff meeting or an event, definitely give it a try. Bali. Those tropical vibes, Allie. Mally, your dad's home island in the South Pacific. Well, Mallory, I love that you added the piece about your dad's home, because I think that's an important point about conversation starters, is creating these natural organic connections to getting to know folks. New Zealand, the Lord of the Rings sites. Nice, Seth. You know, I just rewatched those movies. They never get old. You know, I think I would choose Alaska. Alaska is the only state I haven't been to. So I would love to go to Alaska. Micah says Spain at Christmas time. The Amazon. Thanks, Miss Williams. All right, this is fun. Let's do one more. I'm going to shift to a different section. Would you rather spend a day at the beach or a day in the mountains? I'm going to say mountains. Allie says the beach, mountains all day. Beach, mountains. Mallory lives at the beach. Mountains. All right, one more. Would you rather be able to fly or breathe underwater? Ooh, I might say breathe underwater. Breathe underwater. Mountains, fly, fly, fly. All right, I think we're split on that one. All right, now you all are experts in silly and speedy conversation starters. Thank you for playing along. I hope you can use that resource. I'll put the link in the chat here again. I know we filled up the, I stole your answers. We're on the same wavelength. right, I put a link to the chat here. So you got that link. I know we were putting a lot in the chat there, so I didn't want you to lose that link. All right, well, I hope you try silly, speedy conversation starters with the families you support, with your staff members as well. I think it's such a fun way to get to know your team. And I'm going to put my email in here again. As I think Mallory did when you adapted that bingo resource, if you all use this and then change it up and make it better, please share with me what you did. I always love learning and sharing from folks. All right, so I got 4 more minutes and I got 1 more resource. And we've got a Q&A coming up. So think about if you've got some questions or if there's specific things you need, I'm very happy. And Seth's here too. Like, ask us any question, any resource you want to get connected with. We can see what we've got. If Healthier Generation doesn't have it, I'm sure Seth has a partner that does. All right, here's our last resource. Oops, and I put in the wrong one. 1 second. I'm putting in a link to our self-care summer toolkit. Just replace summer with whatever season you're in. We'll call this the self-care fall toolkit. So lots of resources in there that you could share with families and staff around supporting self-care. There's a whole worksheet on self-care tips for parents and caregivers. So if you need bulletin board content, newsletter content, social media content, email content, please share any of these things. Make it your own. Lots of good stuff in there. So we are going to end today's workshop with just a moment of gratitude. I think that's one of the best practices that we can all do to support ourselves. So we were going to write a gratitude haiku, and I have a feeling you all could do that in 3 minutes, but I don't know if I can. So we're going to simplify this, and I want you just to write down 3 words that reflect something you're grateful for. It could be about yourself or a teammate or anything in your life. 3 words represent gratitude, something you're grateful for. Write those in the chat. You're very welcome, malqueen.rivers. I'm going to put all right, my 3 words, I'm putting South Carolina folks, because I really appreciate being with y'all this morning. Thank you for participating. Grateful for health, family, and opportunities. Love that. 3 words, what are you feeling grateful for? Healing, love, and family. Thanks, Miss Williams. Children, health, and life. Thanks, Jamie. Nature, family, and health. Health, children, and family. Family, music, and nature. Love this. Consistent acceptance and love. Yes, Micah. Beautiful. So there are plenty more self-care activities like this in that self-care summer toolkit. Again, it says summer, but you can use it any time of the year. There's some fun videos at the end. There's a free like yoga workshop at the end. There's a link that you can use. You could even show that in a staff meeting or at a family event. Let's say that you want to do some yoga with families, but you don't want to pay for it. And you can do the tech hookup. Set up a screen, share that yoga workshop with folks. You could even adapt it, and if you have someone who wanted to lead some of those activities, that's the name of the game with Healthier Generation resources. It's just take what serves you, adapt it so that it's impactful in your community. All right, Malqueen Rivers, I love that. Grateful for life and family. Well, that is the end of all of our resources. I am so grateful to be here with you all. And now it's time for Q&A. I think we got 5 minutes, right?
Right. Yeah, 5. Yes, sir. And if there are not a lot of questions, if you have any more resources, want to share anything else with that, you've done a great job. You continue to share for the next 4 to 5 minutes.
All right, well, I'll let folks think. Seth, I might just like put you on the spot. I don't know if there's things you're thinking about and you're like, Daniel, why didn't you talk about this? Feel free to share what's on your mind, Seth.
Well, again, just going back to gratitude, just super thankful to be a part of this again. Anytime we're talking about family and community engagement in South Carolina, we're talking about the right things. So just very thankful to be able to be a part of this, and as always, be talking with, as you all can probably tell, it's a lot of fun working alongside Daniel. So anytime I get an opportunity, I'm happy to do it. I am going to put something in the link, and it's something I would love for all of you all to share. Again, I always say, you know, make use of every day. Every day is a new opportunity, right? And so I'm going to really use this as an opportunity to promote, if you've got families who are not involved with the school wellness journey, please advocate, promote for them to get involved, to create that change and be that change, and to be a part of creating new policies and new systems and new environments for them and their children. And so I posted a little link from our Fitnessgram. This is just a community member flyer that helps you realize the impact and the importance of physical activity. There's also some South Carolina stuff on that same South Carolina Fitnessgram page. And these are people who really support Healthier Generation, and vice versa. We really support them as well. So again, anything I can do to help you connect your communities and your families to the school wellness journey, I'd love to do so. And my email's in the chat. Please reach out.
Thank you, Seth. Awesome resource. Any other questions? Oh, and thanks for putting the link into the Whole Child Conference. And you know, I'm realizing we didn't do our group activity from Nature-Based Bingo, and it takes about 1 minute. So let's keep, if you got questions, please put that in the chat, but we'll do this together and we can end on this activity. So it's from the first Nature Bingo card. So I'll put a link in the chat here to that. And Seth, I think we've done this together before at the play conference. This is called Flower Breath. And it's pretty simple. It's a visualization. And I love visualization activities because they support our resilience. So I want everyone to, if you feel safe, you can close your eyes, you can look down, you can look off. But I want you to visualize a flower, just any kind of flower, maybe one that you've grown, or one you saw on vacation. Ali, it could be that a flower in Bali, and that on the trip you want to take. Maybe a flower from the South Pacific, which I want you to visualize a flower. Erica, awesome. So nice to see your name pop up. So visualize a flower. I want you to just take a minute, take a big deep breath, and I want you to just think about what it would be like to breathe in that smell of that flower. Take a big exhale. Let's breathe in again, but I want you to visualize smelling that flower. And then when you exhale, just pretend you're blowing those petals. So almost like you're blowing through a straw. You're just barely moving those petals. So a big deep breath in. And breathe out like you're blowing those petals. Let's do it one more time together. Big deep breath in. Deep breath out. So that is Flower Breath. It's on the Nature-Based Bingo resource. We actually have, you know what, I'll share one more resource here. It's from there, it's connected to our virtual Me Moments hub. So if you want specific instructions for Flower Breath, you can get it here. But what I love about it is once you do it one time, you can think about all these other ways that you can do it. And Erica, feel free to chime in and share if you've got a modification.
Mr. Hatcher, I want to thank you and Mr. Shelby for the resources that you provide us today. These are great resources. Make sure that you use those resources, share the resources with your staffs or peers. Really can we want to appreciate, thank Mr. Hatcher, Mr. Shelby, for all that they've done, and you can put your thank yous and your well wishes in the chat as we go. The next session starts at 11 o'clock. So we'll do that. But thanks again, Mr. Hatcher, Mr. Shelby.
Yep. Appreciate you all.